Ms. Tai, it seems to me we have to begin with the reality that America sacrificed 4 years of trade leverage, particularly stiffing allies who wanted to work with us on key questions, particularly China. So my first question to you is, how do you intend to work with our trading partners to direct a full court press against China to force an end to their policies of stealing our intellectual property and forced transfer of technology to them?
Chairman Wyden, thank you for your question and for highlighting this important aspect of the trade policy that the United States needs to have going forward. I think with respect to working with others, I want to acknowledge right up front that working with others is hard work. And I think that that hard work begins by engaging, reaching out, and having the conversations which will sometimes be quite difficult about how we can work together and how we can capitalize on our shared interests to make more effective policy together.
Now, with respect to the next major area, USMCA, the Trump administration proceeded while several outstanding issues were up in the air. To this day, Canada hasn't come into compliance on dairy requirements. Mexico lags on implementation of their labor laws. We wrote this law so that it would have real teeth. And I'm very pleased that we were able to get a brand new Brown-Wyden rapid response mechanism to address labor violations in Mexico and ensure that we would have the strongest labor standards ever in a U.S. trade agreement. Could you just kind of give us your top priorities going forward now? When you hit the ground, we're going to get you confirmed. I'm convinced of it. What are going to be your top priorities for using these new tools to enforce USMCA?
Senator Wyden, I think the top priority for USMCA is to use those tools. The renegotiation of the NAFTA, I believe that all of you have been through that effort. It was hard. That was hard work. And the agreement that we have now has, as Ranking Member Brady referenced, has an improved overall enforcement mechanism, improved from the original NAFTA. And as you've referenced, Chairman Wyden, has new mechanisms on labor enforcement in particular that are novel, not just to this agreement, but to U.S. trade agreements across the board. The key to using the USMCA and making it successful is to exercise the tools that were so hard fought in being incorporated into the agreement.
Let me go next to this question of digital taxes, because we are seeing many countries around the world in effect deploying what I call a digital dagger. And it is right at the heart of American companies that pay high-skill, high-wage jobs, and it really just seems an effort to hold our companies back to advantage others. What tools and forums can you use as at USTR to beat back this kind of digital protectionism wave that can do so much damage to our sector that really leads in these areas, and that's why countries are targeting them?
Chairman Wyden, I'm aware of the development and proliferation of digital services tax efforts by different countries around the world. I want to acknowledge that if confirmed, this will be an area that will require close coordination, not just between the administration and Congress, but the different parts of the administration, in particular USTR and the Treasury Department. I know that the Biden administration is committed to cooperative multilateral efforts at the OECD and the G20, and if confirmed, I will look forward to working with colleagues in the administration and with the senators on this committee, the members of the Ways and Means Committee and Congress overall to address the issue.
Let me close on the issue of tariffs. Under Section 232, the previous administration imposed tariffs on steel and aluminum imports that they said threaten to impair national security. The tariffs are still in place for most countries, including many of America's allies, and as a result, a number of our trading partners have imposed retaliatory tariffs on our exports. Recognizing that the Commerce Department administers this rather than USTR, you're also going to play an important role in tariff policy because it's part of the trade toolbox. In your view, what role should these tariffs play in a worker-focused trade policy?
Well, Senator Wyden, the tariffs, I want to acknowledge that you're absolutely right. The 232 program is within the authority of the Commerce Department. But if confirmed, I would hope very much to work closely as USTR with the Commerce Department and other parts of the administration on the landscape that we have before us. I also want to say that with respect to tariffs, that tariffs are a legitimate tool in the trade toolbox. It is because of tariffs that the Senate Finance Committee and the Ways and Means Committee have original jurisdiction over trade. And tariffs are a very important part of our fair trade remedies toolbox. Having said that, I think that with respect to the 232 tariffs on steel and aluminum that you mentioned, we have to acknowledge that we have overall a very significant global marketplace problem in the steel and aluminum markets that are driven primarily by China's overcapacity that it's built in production of these materials. But it's not just a China problem. And what we are going to need in a worker-centered trade policy is an effective solution that looks at a whole slew of policy tools to address that larger problem.
Thank you.